Okay guys, we have it. Today I'll be unboxing and setting up the Nintendo Switch 2. So the Nintendo Switch comes in this box right here. I've got the Mario Kart World version. So I did get Mario Kart included with this, which is great. It was only for £429, which is probably around $429, which is a great pickup price. So let's check out the box itself. At the front, we have the Nintendo Switch 2 and the docking station as well. On the sides, we have the accessories that are included in the box. So that includes the Nintendo Switch 2 console itself, the two Joy-Cons, the left and right, the Nintendo Switch AC adapter, the USB-C charging cable, the Nintendo Switch 2 docking station, and the Joy-Con 2 grip and the Joy-Con 2 strap, followed by the ultra high-speed HDMI cable. And lastly, the Mario Kart World download code as well. I unboxed it the wrong way around, which is great. Let's start off with the Joy-Cons themselves. So the Joy-Cons now, if you haven't realized, they do attach onto Nintendo Switch via magnets, which is something different. All right, does feel nice. Of course, it is made out of plastic, but still feels quite durable in the hands. All right, so we've got the left and then the right. Again, we've got kind of the reddy orangey hue and then the blue, which gives it a nice pop of color. With the left Joy-Con, the analog stick is up on the left side, and with the right Joy-Con, it's pretty much in the middle. Okay, which actually feels natural and great in the hands. I'll probably add extension caps onto the joysticks to give it a bit more elevation. I always prefer playing like that even on the PlayStation 5, as that reduces thumb fatigue, so I'm definitely be adding that. Probably grab some Control Freaks. The D-pad feels quite nice. It's not clicky at all, which I like, so I'm not waking up anyone at night. A little bit of click, it's quite subtle to be honest. And then we've got the face buttons, which again, very similar to the D-pad, not that clicky. Really like that as well. So pretty much all the buttons and the joysticks feel quite premium, quite good, really nice. All right, let's check out the triggers. Yeah, triggers feel good as well. They're not that clicky, but there is a bit of click to them. All right, let's put these to the side. And then onto the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. So the screen is noticeably bigger than the Nintendo Switch 1, which is great in my opinion. Okay, looks really nice. The bezels are much smaller than the Nintendo Switch 1, which is definitely a pro. At the bottom, we've got the USB-C port for charging. And then on the sides, we have the magnets for the Joy-Cons. They're pretty much on both sides. Just a FYI, there is a screen protector already on the Nintendo Switch 2. Make sure you do not take it off. Okay, so Nintendo specifically has said don't take it off because that will actually protect the screen, especially when docked. Because as we know with the previous generation, when docked sometimes it does cause a bit of scratches on the screen. However, keeping this will help eliminate that. So at the top we've got some ventilation gaps which will prevent overheating. Okay, we've got the on button, the volume key. I believe that could be the charging port, we'll double check that. We've got a headphone jack and then the game cartridges go into here. All right, on the back, we've got the Nintendo Switch 2 branding, which looks nice. So at the back, it's nice and smooth, but with a bit of grip, which I do really like, just to prevent the Nintendo Switch from slipping out of my hands, especially during those sweaty sessions. And then we've got the stand. The stand is much thinner than the previous generation. So, I wonder how this will work out. Let's try and put it on the desk. Yeah, sits well. Does feel quite robust, actually more robust than the Nintendo Switch 1. All right, let's dive deep into the box. Then we have the Mario Kart World download code. Again, instructions on how to redeem the code. We've got the instructions manual. Do give that a read. I'll definitely give that a read myself. Then we have the HDMI cable. It does state ultra speed, so I'm guessing it might be HDMI 2.1, hopefully. But regardless, you know, we can only get 60 frames per second. All right, and then we've got the Joy-Con grip and straps, especially if you want to use the Joy-Cons as a mouse. All right, it is color-coded, so to attach it is quite simple. Just slip it in, and then give it a bit of a push, and there we go, it clicks right into place. And then taking off is quite simple as well. And then we have the controller itself. So this part of the frame is actually quite glossy, so it would attract a bit of fingerprints. However, this part doesn't. Then you've got the LED lights that indicates the charging levels of each Joy-Con. And then at the back, you've got the Nintendo branding. Yep, and at the front, you've got Nintendo Switch branding as well. Okay, again, held by magnets. Yeah, just clips on pretty much. Right, it's very light as well. Much lighter than a PlayStation 5 controller. Ergonomics feel great in the hand as well. Again, there is a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is around £75, $75. That was out of stock, hence why I didn't pick that up. So to pop these off, don't pull them apart. There is kind of a button that you push in, and that allows it to come out on both sides. Just push in, and then it pretty much just comes out. Here we have the charging cable. It's a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. Then we have the charging brick itself. Oh, it also got up to 60 volts. Wow, so this can even charge a laptop potentially, which is quite cool. Great. And lastly, we have the docking station. So the design of this is different. It's no longer pointy and well, it's still rectangular, but it's no longer pointy edges. Has more kind of a curved edge, which I prefer. It looks really nice. I feel like even the gap to place the Nintendo Switch is actually larger than before, which is great, which means you won't end up damaging the screen. Bit of ventilation gaps at the bottom as well to prevent the device from overheating. And then you've got HDMI cable goes in here. AC adapter if you want to plug it in and charge the Nintendo Switch 2 whilst gaming. You've got the HDMI out to connect it to your monitor or TV. And then you've got the LAN cable to boost your internet speeds. So now I'm going to try attaching the Joy-Cons onto Nintendo Switch 2. All right, then press the button to remove. You know, it is quite strong. Like the magnets are really powerful, and you can definitely feel that. All right, and attaching the other side. Sweet. All right, there we go. So playing Zelda, Mario Kart, Pokemon at 1080p, 120 frames per second on the screen that's this big is actually great. Like this is going to be a great experience. All right, let's switch this on, get it set up. All right, so first of all, you select your language. So we are English UK. Connect to the internet. So there's a system update which will download. All right, let's put that to download. If you have data to transfer from your old Nintendo Switch console, you can do that now, or you can choose not to transfer anything. Now we can add the user. Let's sign into our Nintendo account. So if you do have a micro SD card, you can insert that now. And the Nintendo Switch 2 does come with 256 gigabytes of internal storage, which is a big increase over the Nintendo Switch 1, which is great. All right, setup is complete. Let's press the home button. So first thing to do, I'm just going to head over to system settings. I just want to change the brightness and disable automatic brightness. There we go, it looks much better. So now I can actually adjust the brightness myself rather than Nintendo Switch doing it itself. And now this is the Nintendo Play Online. So we've got Nintendo Classics here. Got the GameCube, the Advance, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, and Nintendo. Alright, so these are a range of different games that you could potentially play. I think it does require the expansion pack, which I will definitely be purchasing. And 64, yes, there is GoldenEye, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, Mario Party. Yeah, we've got the Mario Karts, of course, the Zelda. I don't think we have any Pokemons as of yet. We've got one Pokemon game. So that's Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Never played that before. And on the Cube, we've got Soul Calibur 2, okay. And then Zelda again. So hopefully they'll be adding more games to each of these consoles right here. So for the membership, there are two options to go for: Nintendo Switch Online or the Nintendo Switch Online plus the expansion pack. So if you go for Nintendo Switch Online, there is a free 7-day trial. A month will cost you £3.50, 3 months £7, and then for a year it'll cost you $17.99. On a family membership for a year, that's $31.50. However, I'm more interested in the second membership option. I'll probably go for the individual, and that will cost me around £35, which in my opinion is actually a good price. All right, let's go to Nintendo eShop so we can download Mario Kart. Here we go, we have the Nintendo eShop right here. So we've got a few games at launch. We've got Nintendo Kart World, we've got Cyberpunk 2077, we've got a Welcome Tour, which unfortunately is not free. We've got Fast Fusion, and of course we've got Fortnite, Split Fiction as well. Alright, so let's redeem our code. Alright, so this does need to download, so it will take a bit of time. We'll come back to it shortly. And being honest, the UI is really smooth, very easy to navigate. So now that we signed up to the expansion pack, pretty much every Nintendo Switch game will be compatible on the Nintendo Switch 2. However, some will be upgraded and some probably won't or take longer to be upgraded. So the ones that are currently upgraded from what I can see, so with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, there is an upgrade pack. However, for those you do need to pay $7.99. And it's good to see there are a few updates for a few Nintendo Switch 1 games. So that does include Mario Bros. Deluxe, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, you've got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is great, and you've got Mario Odyssey. So you can purchase it from here, or you can purchase the cartridge yourself, and I'm guessing through an update, it'll just update it for free. So at present, there's only a few games right here, but they'll be adding more in the future, so do keep an eye on that. But they'll also be adding games where you do need to upgrade for a price. Alright, you can see how smooth it feels. You can see how smooth it looks. 120 frames per second does make a big difference. Oh, this actually looks amazing. Alright guys, so hope you enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're interested in tech and gaming. There are more Nintendo Switch videos coming your way shortly. This is pretty much kind of a raw video, which is something that's slightly different to what I'm usually used to. But nevertheless, I feel like we did a decent job. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.